Hello folks, this is Hitmanvondoom, and this is a video response to Abstech1's contest. The contest is supposed to tell your favorite comic book character, and I don't think it's going to come as any surprise, at all. I mean, if you look at my screen name, obviously my favorite character is Dr. Doom. Hands down. For some reason, I just always like the villains better than some of the heroes. Even in professional wrestling, I always kind of like the villains better than the heroes better than the faces. And that's the way it is in comics too. I always love a great villain. Because without a great villain, superheroes, they're just not as good. It's almost they need one another to be good. Well, actually, I feel that a great villain is needed more to make it better. How do I put this? The better the villain is, the better it helps the superhero get established more. Where a villain it can be for anybody, but a superhero, it needs one great villain to really put him over. Spider-Man had the Green Goblin, Fantastic Four had Dr. Doom, X-Men had Magneto. You really need that one thing to put him over, and that's what Dr. Doom does. And the reason I like Dr. Doom is he's a character that has his own set of rules. I mean, you have rules for heroes, superheroes, for anti-heroes and villains, and then you got Dr. Doom who has a different set of rules from everybody else. It's like he has a different set of rules. He's on a different playing field from all the villains and all the heroes. I mean, and the thing about it is that you really don't know, what his real intentions are. He wants to dominate the world, but then the interesting part about it is you don't know whether the world might be a better place or might not be a better place. Like in Doom War, for example, he went to look at the possible futures. Each future, the humanity destroyed itself, except one future where Dr. Doom ruled the world. That's what's so interesting. It's like on one hand, he's like such a terrible, awful human being person, and on the other hand, he can actually be a savior to the world. It's just like that an interesting dynamic that you don't see with villains very often. He's such a versatile character. He could be a villain, he could be a superhero, he could be an anti-hero. It's boundless. The limits on a character is just boundless. And even if he is a villain, he isn't a stereotypical villain. He'll join a group of villains trying to take over the world, and then he'll betray those villains. He'll betray that team that he was on the villain and take the whole world for himself. That's the type of villain he is. He's always thinking, always thinking of his next move. He's very smart, and I just love Dr. Doom for that. And another thing is he has his own country too. How many villains do we know have their own country? The only other characters I can really think that have their own country, you could maybe say Khazar in the Savage Land, but that's debatable because there's no government. And the only other one I can think of is Black Panther with Wakanda, which Dr. Doom, of course, invaded and brought to the brink of its knees. But yeah, Dr. Doom is my favorite character, hands down. And my favorite book of Dr. Doom, there's so many books. Fantastic whenever he takes Latveria, when I think it was Fantastic Four 247. There was the Secret Wars number 10. We go against the Beyonder. Stuff. It was all a bunch of classic Dr. Doom stories. And that's another thing I like Dr. Doom. How many villains are going to willingly go against Galactus, steal the power of the Silver Surfer? Gonna go against Beyonder, who has essentially the power of God, and not only that, and getting 5 minutes feature in his own realm. How many villains do you know would do that? That have the guts to do that sort of stuff. That's what I like Dr. Doom. And my favorite should be no surprise. This one right here, Triumph and Torment, graphic novel, starring Dr. Strange and Dr. Doom. My favorite story of Dr. Doom, in fact, it's like my favorite story of all time. A very, very solid story, and I would say. And I've said it before, and I'll probably end up making in the future another video about this, but this is my favorite story ever written of Dr. Doom. The first act, with the fight for the Sorcerer Supreme, Dr. Strange, Dr. Doom, a bunch of other magicians. Dr. Doom and Strange were the only two left standing, and Dr. Strange ends up winning. But of course, Dr. Strange has to help Dr. Doom with one wish, and he's like, he's want me to take over the world and stuff. But of course, and that's what you would think Dr. Doom would do, but instead, he asked Doctor Strange's help in freeing his mother's soul from Mephisto. You know, this guy right here, who's essentially the devil. Come on, horns, red. Come on, folks. And yeah, and that's what this issue's about. This story is about Doctor Doom kind of planning and following through on his plan with the help of Doctor Strange to actually go into Mephisto's realm and wrestle the soul, his mother's soul, away from Mephisto in his own realm. Neither mind. He go into his own realm, and it's such a great thing because you see every side of Doctor Doom. You see some of the noble qualities of him, the leadership qualities of him. You see how smart he is, and the fact at the end of the story, the fact that he was able to just beat Mephisto in his own realm, not physically beat him, but beat him in terms of outwits him. He outwits the devil to win his mother's soul with the help of Doctor Strange. Is just astounding. And that's why I like Doctor Doom. My favorite story, Triumph and Torment. If you can find a cheap copy, which I got very lucky, pick it up. Doctor Doom, my favorite character, and Abstech. You have a good 200 subscribers. Here's to another 200 more for you because you're awesome and you definitely deserve it. So I'm punching out.